Yeah, hello, welcome to the Reloved Guitars workshop. I'm Sam, and bringing you number 3 of this week's guitars coming in, and you can see, probably recognise this as a good old-fashioned Squier Affinity Strat in good old-fashioned black. This is an Indonesian Squier, and actually I was surprised. I think this came from a, what was it? Was it kind of, not a pawn shop, but one of those. I never can quite tell if it's a charity shop with an eBay presence or a wasp or a trade-in shop. You know, where you go and cash converter type thing. Anyway, came from somewhere like that, and I was very surprised that it's come in extremely good condition. I mean, the strings are a bit worn out, grotty, but everything else on it is pretty spotless. There are a couple of tiny bits of tiny scuffs on the paintwork, which will actually come out easily with a bit of micro mesh and polish. But this guitar overall is in pretty good nick. Like I said, not apart from the strings, which show signs of having been sat up and not played anywhere for some considerable length of time. So we've got a basic Affinity Affinity Strat. I'm having a wasp just keeping me on my card. Go away. You wouldn't believe it's nearly mid-October. Yeah, basic Squier Affinity Strat. This model has the sealed tuners on the back, which is good. These are usually trouble-free. They're a hell of a lot better than the two-piece ones that are kind of open. These, I think, they had their little plastic covers on them, so I've taken those off. Amazing how many people leave those on. It's got the skunk stripe down the back, which is quite a nice feature. Squier neck plate, and I can see it's got Squier bullet strings in here, which we'll have off shortly. But yeah, 3 very straightforward single coil pickups. Nothing unusual, everything in its place. The fingerboard is the usual rosewood or Eastern equivalent. On a maple neck, or Eastern equivalent. I'll just put an asterisk on that and just not say it again. And very, I suppose, satisfyingly, there are no cracks down here where the neck joins the body, which is actually quite unusual. Most guitars on eBay have some degree of cracking, and there's a lot of debate, as I've probably mentioned many times, but there's a lot of debate about, some people seem to always hold that those are just cracks in the lacquer, and maybe there are things that environmental things that happen to the lacquer that I'm not aware of, quite possibly, that makes it I don't know, react to changes in temperature and just crack, split apart. Maybe the wood swells underneath. I don't know. I have to say, it was my experience so far that I think most of the times I've seen cracks, it relates to cracks in the wood, and I tend to assume that's always the reason behind it. Because I've never seen, I'll put it this way, if it was just cracks in the lacquer and lacquer reacting to some sort of temperature change, you would expect to see a crack spontaneously start here or there, or where the drill hole is there, or at the corner of the thing, you know, or the plate. It doesn't. It always happens there. So why is it only there that lacquer is affected by these strange environmental conditions or stresses? Well, it's obvious why the lacquer cracks there and only there. It's because what happens there and only there? Oh yes, the neck joins the body, and what happens out there and only there where the neck joins the body is that when you bang the neck, the force is transmitted right through that little right angle corner there, and that's why you get the cracks. So I have to say, if you're looking to buy, I would suggest that you take a pinch of salt when the seller tells you, oh, it's just a crack in the lacquer, right? I've never seen that, or I've never seen evidence to show that lacquer just cracks. I think it's to do with the stress, and it's to do with the right angle shape, which any physicist or engineer will tell you is inherently weak, okay? Or won't shed loads or forces very well. They'll go straight to the point of least resistance, which is the corner, and they will spread out from there. Just like they did on the Comet in the 1960s, when the aircraft broke up, one of the first, or a series of Comet crashes, and it was caused by failure in the corners of the windows. right? For the exact same reason, because the square-shaped windows they used in those days in the aircraft were inherently weak part of the structure, and they stressed, and over time, over numerous landings and takeoffs, they finally gave way. And that's why aircraft don't have squared off windows anymore. They have round ones, or oval ones. Anyway, there you go. So, beautiful thing. Really, really good little bargain that is. That's going to shine up really, really nicely. And we're going to have a really nice basic starter learning guitar there, and we'll have a beautiful action set. Currently it's about no, that's not true. It's probably about, I like to measure from right up here on the 21st fret, and it's currently, let's have a quick look, that is currently 2.5 millimeters at that fret, and we'll take it down to about 1 to 1.25, something like that, or maybe 1.25 to 1.5 max. So it'll be a considerable drop down. We'll lose a millimeter there, which will be quite a substantial difference to how it feels and plays. And of course, we'll also make sure that the string height over the first fret is not too great, so you don't get intonation problems when you're trying to play those basic open chords down here, which is pretty much a place where learners will need to start their learning. And for those of you who have seen any of these videos, you'll be pleased to know that I won't be using Mr. Sheen on the guitars. Somebody rather confrontationally pointed out that Mr. Sheen was silicon based, and therefore the devil's spawn for electric guitar finishes. And that was, very interesting piece of information, which I quite happily went off and did some research on. Because, as I've said at the start of many of these, I don't know everything. In fact, I don't know an awful lot, but I am quite willing to go and find out. And I really welcome people to politely suggest things to look at and ideas to check out. So please do. If you know how to do something better than the way I'm doing it, please let me know. But I beg you, do it in a nice way so that we can be friends instead of looking to create a YouTube comment war, because there's just too much of that in the world, as you know. Yeah, I will be sticking to the good old safe naphtha for cleaning, and or very, very mildly soapy water if there is general grime, to get these things clean. And perhaps the finishing solution over here, or the resin polish and things like that, so long as they haven't got silicone in them. Okay, so we can shine these things up, but we won't use the dreaded silicone. So thank you in a kind of roundabout way for that piece of information, and that challenge turned out to be productive. One more thing about this guitar that I've noticed is that there's a lip here between the fingerboard and the neck of the wood of the neck, and that's quite interesting because it tells me that the fingerboard has been glued slightly. Well, I wouldn't say it's been glued incorrectly. It's actually slightly narrower than the neck. Sometimes it can be because it's come apart, it's sprung off from the neck, and sometimes it can be put down, put back down, glued back down off to the side. I can't see any other damage here that would indicate that this guitar's had any problems with the fingerboard springing up. I have had it on a guitar in the house where I dropped it face down, and the forces, the difference in springiness between the maple of the neck and the rosewood of the fingerboard caused a kind of interesting reaction, and the reaction was it just literally pinged the fingerboard off the maple neck. I then clamped it and glued it back down, but in doing so I got it microscopically out of position, so I ended up with this little lip that you can probably hear here. Now, it isn't the same, there isn't a corresponding inset on the other side, and in fact, if anything, what is there on the other side? Yeah, there's a tiny bit of, it's a bit like one or other of these pieces wasn't cut quite right. Now the nice thing about this is we can just take care of that with a little bit of sandpaper, and then to finish it back off with the micromesh papers, which are an incredible magic bullet. I've got several sets of them and you can't get enough. These sets of, what do they call them? Pads, or they're like sheets, but they're fibrous sheets, so that they've got the the grit on one side, and they last a lot longer, especially if you wash them out now and then. But these sets go from a kind of 1500 grit. It's not quite the same as sandpaper grit I found out this week, but let's just call it grit for now. So it goes from 1500 to 12,000, and if you take down this lip with quite a rough paper, you could use 600, just take that right back, it will scuff all of this up, and then you can go back up through the papers, and by the time you get to about 4,000, you have to actually stop, because if this is a silk finish on here, you'll be about to go into turning it. It's so good it turns it into a mirror, a gloss finish. That's how good this paper is. So actually we'd have to stop at about maybe 3,600 on this set. But that will take care of that, and you won't even notice that it's been sanded, which is a great thing to have, micro mesh. They're only about £9 a set or something like that, under a tenner. This will polish anything. It will polish plastic up to a shine. It will polish lacquer from a complete scuffed, cloudy looking scuffed patch back up to a shiny, completely shiny finish. So only needing a bit of polishing compound followed by a finishing solution. So just amazing tool you can't live without really if you do this. And I'm sure there's probably lots of reasons why the way I use that is probably wrong, but it seems to work for budget guitars that aren't the top of the range and £5,000 Gibsons. I wouldn't even touch anyway, mainly because as soon as you're into this sort of expensive vintage heirloom, actually you devalue them by changing things. So that's not what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is taking things that are on the way to the scrap heap of life and making them playable again, so that somebody can have a good few years out of them. Like some customers one of whom is coming by on Sunday to pick up last week's blue Affinity Stratocaster, and it's for a youngster, and it's set up with an incredibly easy action. Everything works nicely, and that kid will be able to learn pretty easily on that guitar, compared to some of these beasties with their 2.5, 3mm high actions. So that's kind of it for the new ones. There are a couple more in the post still. We had a bit of a thing this week on SGs, so I've got another vintage SG coming, a cherry one this time, to go with my other two cherry SGs of different makes. There's one more thing. I'm going to just start and stop the video. Welcome everybody, Sam and Thomas in the Reloved Guitar Work shed. Thomas is thrilled to be here taking a break from his homework. And today we have this baby. What is it, Thomas?
Squier Strat Fender Affinity Stow.
Squier Strat Fender Affinity, yeah. 3 pickups, single coils, black, actually quite immaculate, believe it or not.
Not very bad.
Not
a few bumps and scratches.
Can't see anything actually.
Well, there's a few scratches there and a few...
Where?
There, you've got a few scratches, and then you've got
chips,
a few grazes and...
hardly anything then. Given that it came from, I don't know, some sort of cash converter thing. Anyway, no cracks in the neck pocket for a change, which is pretty good. So we're going to do this in record time because it's a pretty basic guitar, and Thomas is going to get ready with the choppers, and I'm going to get ready by undoing the strings. So, chop and go.
I've done that wrong already.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a week or so.
So I've got one set of strings left to go onto this guitar. Let's see how quick we can do it. So what time did we start?
Does it say on there? No.
No, that won't tell us.
Great.
Oh.
For time, isn't it?
No, because it stops and restarts in its own counter. Okay.
No, I don't know. Sometime around 6.
16, okay?
It's a quarter past.
Yeah. Quarter past 6 only. It feels like midnight.
Yeah, it does.
So, there's the Fender Bullet strings, those. Or bullet-y things. I'm going to have a quick look at this, but I don't think we need to take the tuners off. They're all in good nick, thankfully. puts a neck off, clean the body over while we get taping the neck up, or actually we do clean the neck with our new friend lighter fluid, which is pure naphtha. We don't use Mr. Sheen anymore because only an insane idiot would use Mr. Sheen on the guitar, I've been told. Not that I took it personally or anything.
These
Anyway.
strings are absolutely lovely to take out.
Should we
Try
turn it back off?
Hang on. I'm going to try it. I'm going to keep trying. I might just be being stupid. You know what's wrong with it?
What? Stuck.
It's stuck in there.
Yeah.
It's one of the bullet ones as well.
Where did the...
I don't know, where'd you put it?
Where did I put it? Behind you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Not all what
This will do. Will do.
Oh,
Just a few of them will do, but that will do.
is that the right way or what?
Well, try it. No, it's the wrong way.
Is it?
Press down as well.
Yeah.
Mm. So, we are going to...
Lovely.
Do-
I've got goo all over my hands.
I haven't got another container, just a second. So
Not even one of those new little plastic things.
so many things on the go. What's in here? I bet it's full of stuff. Yeah, don't go there. Don't go there. I really haven't got too many guitars on the go. Right, it's going to have to be this one that I just washed out.
Lovely. I've got a massive shed full of... Did that just fly off somewhere? No, it's all there. A massive shed full of container items.
I
All
know.
full up.
Too many guitars on the go.
And what have we got in here?
I don't know.
5, 6?
Probably. Right. So you take care of that while I just check that. That's on rock solid. I don't want to take that off.
Right then.
You take care of that. I'll take care of the main join.
It doesn't even want to move.
What you can do, if you get stuck,
Yeah, we've got something that I can push
Yeah.
on.
use the tiniest one of these from the other side.
Yeah. Do you want to flip that over for me?
So right, you hold that there. Let me take this off.
Ah, yeah, that's a good idea.
There we are.
One way.
Yeah, maybe. So let's go back to that.
Lovely.
I was going to say. Oh yeah, we'll keep an eye out for a shim as always at this point in the game. If you are taking your neck off your guitar, ready, off comes the neck, and out it comes.
You got it?
Yep, bloody hell, that's tight. Oh, and there's a shim, and it came flipping out. Damn, hold on then, put it down. Let's see if we can figure out where it was. Right.
Right there.
I think it was right on top of there.
You can tell because of the dust.
Okay, well there, grab me that Evo stick one up there.
What am I grabbing you?
Glue.
Glue. This one?
Yep.
This
And
one's
then,
a baking.
yeah, get a little bit of glue and stick that back down where it come from.
How much am I putting on?
Just a little, enough to hold it in place.
Well, it's already decided it wants
It's alright, don't too much. You don't want to sit it up too far.
Oh, lovely.
Right. In which case, take that off and put some more glue on it.
There you go. Present. Lovely. Now I've got the glue
Nice.
in my hands.
Keep that off the bodywork, won't you?
Yeah.
Good. Always know where the shim came from, because if you put that back 5mm off to one side, it can make a difference to how the neck sits, bizarrely. I mean, it's that sensitive. Okay.
Yeah, lovely. Got goo all on me already, and I haven't even started the cleaning process.
Oh, right.
That line next to me.
Down there.
Luckily.
Right, put that in there.
I'm going to take
In there. Grab all of those. And there's another one of these knocking about over here.
So there's still one more.
Tuner's all good.
Getting back to the original task at hand.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's something under here? Some just nail
Hold
varnish or something. Okay, so you do that.
There
Not
you
much
go.
room. So good. Is that all? Oh no, one more.
Right, one more. Lovely. Wasn't enough to push out.
I'm bidding on a sniping a Gould, you know, same as my semi-acoustic,
Yes.
a Gould Les Paul
There we go, that's
shape.
sorted. Lovely.
Right.
What am I doing?
Yeah, that goes in
That's neat.
new set. Because I couldn't, I'm sorry camera, I couldn't have it that we only had one set left in the world, or one possible one that would do that job.
There we go.
Right, so what I'd like you to do, I'd like you,
You want me to take that off?
did I even test this guitar? I don't think I did. I'd like you to take, actually we'll leave the plate on, I'd like you to take all of these off and we'll clean all of these and then we'll give that
Am I
a
using
clean.
the electric thing or just the normal thing?
Which ones? The normal, so you'd want,
You got it anywhere?
have somewhere.
Thank you very much.
While you're doing that, I will clean the neck with lighter fluid, my new best friend.
Since your old one was awful.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, we're looking wonderfully in here.
Good.
Since I'm no longer insane, I'm now cleaning the guitar with lighter fluid. Since my temporary insanity. Sorry, you're struggling to move around in our workshop. I've run out of containers to put
That's
guitar
neat.
parts in.
It's bigger at one end than it is at the other.
Oh, the screw, the spring.
Spring.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just put this on here? Or
Yeah, put them where you can put them back in fairly soon.
Will do.
So first stage of doing the neck is giving it a good clean to get everybody else's finger goo off.
You're going to want to do that on this as well. It's got
Yeah.
a lot of goo on it.
I'm going to need to get some more lighter fluid this week because I'm almost out. Been sniffing too much of it.
We're going to give these a wash as well.
If they need to, yeah. Those could be cleaned with Mr. Sheen, by the way. Except Mr. Sheen's been banished. He's not even in the shed.
Such a loyal friend, and you just threw him out like that because of your insanity.
Don't believe them when they say you're insane.
Oh, go on, please don't.
What's wrong with that? Is
It's
it
too small.
spinning? Have you got the right one?
Yeah. Does that go in there or not? No.
No, we'll go with the green one if you had to.
The green one.
Actually, no.
Oh, no,
do it by
don't
hand.
put in that.
If it has to go in something, put it in that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. There we go.
Right, so while you're doing that, I'm just going to give a quick once over on these tuners.
There we go. That's a lot more speedier. That's even a word. Speedier.
Nice and clean. Waiting for the next stage of the game.
That will take a while. Yeah, they're all like that, so it's not a one-off thing that these like that, which is strange because I've never seen them before, and this is standard like the others, isn't it?
Yes.
So someone's obviously taken the saddles off.
Someone. Those graded springs are quite common.
Really?
Common, yes.
I haven't had them before.
That's right. You haven't done that many of these guitars. Sorry, but the truth hurts.
No, you're right. I haven't done many of the standards.
Thanks. Needle files. Just what I wanted. So as Thomas is doing that, I'm fast running out of cloths to do things with.
This is taking a long while to unscrew them.
Just giving everything a quick once over with the camera was doing its own thing a little while ago. It just started and stopped.
What, now?
No, just earlier.
Oh, lovely.
For no reason. So, I'll tell you what you can do afterwards. Is, God, I don't know what that was. Here's the toothbrush of doom. You can chuck all of those bits in that thing and chuck some sociable spirits in and give them a...
Did you just call them sociable spirits?
Sociable spirits. Because we can share it.
Oh, right.
Joking. When you're doing that, be careful you're not scratching the...
Yeah, no, I
Paintwork.
agree. That's why I wasn't using
Yeah.
that one. And, no.
Anyway,
Yeah.
come on. Talk time is cheap time. Hurrah! So as my assistant now gets that, chucks those in the bottom of the jam jar.
Assistant?
Yeah.
Right.
My apprentice, sorry, my business partner, chucks those in the jam jar and puts about half an inch of surgical spirits in with they.
So this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chuck the remains of that in
Lovely.
and get ready with your toothbrush to give it a good tooth cleaning.
Is it the push down? Yeah.
So we put some volume knobs in with it. There was a, I saw on a forum, I saw a really good idea for how to remove these knobs with 2 teaspoons. It's a similar principle to what I'm doing here, but it was much more elegant looking.
Do you want some of these?
No thanks.
Don't want them to put your
Not right
things
now.
in.
Not right now.
No, not right now. Do
You get the plastic
I'm
off,
going to.
please.
Would they be used?
Yeah, they would at some point. If it looks like we're rushing, we're going for the world speed record of sorting out a guitar, just to see how fast it can be done in the blur of partnership.
Yeah. So this time I have Sam actually working on it with me instead of getting me to do it.
But Thomas, you're wearing clothes. I didn't expect that. Expect to see you down here in your pyjamas still.
Dressing gown,
Sorry,
actually.
dressing gown.
It demands its own respect, okay? It is autumn and very cold at the moment. So,
How is the soup doing?
lovely. It's gone greyer. There has been some stuff on it
Good.
at some point.
Probably a lot coming off the toothbrush as well. But
Oh yes, probably. From the last set we had
Well,
that I did with it.
so, I can just pretend it's Morris knocking things over in here for a change. That's out of the way. I need to go and launder a whole more pile of these because
That looks better.
yeah,
That looks nice.
it has improved.
Yes.
You're cooking the knobs, right?
Yes.
I have to make a sick form of laugh.
It's not because I'm immature, it's because it's coming from you.
Okay, well, so what I'm
Oh,
doing.
that's annoying.
Oh yeah, watch out, very careful. I do have some spares, so if it goes horribly wrong,
What has gone on here?
cook them together.
Yeah.
So while you're doing a sort of once over clean like this, you can also spot the parts of the bodywork that need something doing. And there are a few little bits that need attention, but not a lot. In fact, for what it's worth, most of it can be ignored, and a couple of touch-up spots of paint touched up. Okay, so while Thomas is doing that, we have in front of us a very clean-looking Affinity Strat, very standard. Still with some bloody plastic caught under the knobs, but
Please get rid of
all
that.
in good order. Shim glued in, but not staying in.
I wondered why you didn't use
So I'm going to hang this up out of the way, and then we'll come back to it once we've done the neck. With a bit of luck, we should be reconstructing this one fairly quickly.
So it was really annoying. How many are there? One or two?
Two. Unwind them very delicately, otherwise we'll lose. This has lost its power. You know that. It's lost its blowtorch powerness. There.
What's that then?
It's just flame, it's wobbly flame. It doesn't go.
Yeah, what's that?
Don't know.
Is it the new filling again?
I thought it just the day or whenever it was. It doesn't really make any difference. And then
There we go.
I'm really bad at using that stuff. Testing moment. Right, hang out the way, safe with a double knot. Brilliant. Dangling with the bodies. How are you doing?
Doing these now.
Right, so while you're doing that, I shall tell the camera what we're doing. Thomas is going to put the clean bits back in there, including the volumes, and so are they done?
Yeah, they're all done.
Well, if they're done, give them a little dry off with a towel before we put them back in.
Give me a towel to put them off.
Right, what we're going to do with this neck. So the basic setup comprises taking the guitar apart, cleaning it, checking it over, making sure everything's okay, checking the quality of the tuners, and now we're going to go to work on the most important bit of the guitar, which is the neck. And to do that, we're going to make sure, we're going to do a number of things. We're going to clean the neck, which I've just done. Then we're going to check and level the frets. Then we're going to re-profile the frets to make them all the same shape, because they'll then be all the same height. And then we're going to polish them back up and then reinstall the guitar and put strings on it, and then set the actions and the neck and the bridge, and then, sorry, the nut and the bridge, and then intonate it. Point being is, you quite there yet?
I'm sure I've got to drag them out. I wouldn't, that's probably got some...
Is there anything else we need to wash in
goo
there?
in it.
Add the metal bits. Now we're alright really. Don't worry. In which case I'll just leave it evaporate over here.
Or you could just chuck it away.
Just leave it evaporate. Because we might need some more. Yes, so the core part of this job is to get the neck right. And all these guitars come with uneven frets. Uneven frets, right? And they all do. And what we do is we level that and fix it. So what the effect of the uneven frets is that when you have uneven frets, it means you can only take your action down to a certain height. And a high action, as you know, is uncomfortable to play. So by levelling the frets, we create the possibility of taking the action even lower and making it even lower to play. And then we also do the same at this end to set the action at this end correctly. If it's too high at this end, no matter what you do with the action here, it's still hard to play. And not only is it hard to play, but if it's too high at this end, it'll also mess up the intonation, so that when you play a chord here, the three notes you're pressing down will go sharp, and it will sound out of tune with the rest of the guitar, which is really miserable. So, first stage is, do you remember what it was before we do any fret work?
Check it.
For what?
Or for the whether it's got many or little.
We do that, but with the other thing we do...
You keep asking me this and I keep forgetting.
Yeah. Yeah, what do we do?
You check if it's convex or concave.
So we make sure the neck's straight. So have a look and see what it is currently doing. Filthy. Right, what do you reckon?
I think it's bowed, is it?
Bowed, like some relief.
That, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I see, but...
No. Actually, it's almost flat, but it's a tiny bit convex. So if anything, it's a little tiny bit that way.
Do you think?
Massively, tinily, littly.
Oh,
Oh, now I see it. Right.
well, no, I was thinking, because I can see...
Something interesting here.
I can see that.
I tell you what's also interesting, and I forgot to mention on this guitar. I was beginning to look over there because I need something from over there. Where was
Well,
it?
it helps if you know what you need, usually.
Oh yeah, my diagram. So we
You've got
have
another diagram.
We have a humpy one that we want to go counterclockwise. Right. Counterclockwise. Have we got the right Allen key for this job? Oh, please let us be the right. Oh These are the wrong size, too big. We go counterclockwise to get this undone. It's.
You're not going to show them your famed
No.
diagram? Why not?
That doesn't even work. That's too big. Is that really the only options we got? That one. It is the only options.
And what about the other set? That usually works, doesn't it? Usually.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where we go on a hunt for. I think that's a no.
No, you're not even putting it in properly. I'll double check.
You double check. Can't believe that one. Yeah, that's the one. That's the exact one. The same one.
That was the very first one.
Okay, so what did you say?
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise, right? So we'll do it. Oh, you do it. Let's see how it feels.
I want
I want you to do a tenth of a complete. So they're 36 degrees. What do you reckon that? What do you reckon that
I
looks
reckon, because that's not even straight yet.
No, it doesn't matter where it
I'll make
starts.
it straight.
Just from where it starts.
So I reckon to about
there,
there. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What does it feel like? Stop. Mine, a tiny little adjustment. Where, which is which now? Oh no.
You want me to take this one out, or?
I'll have a look. Have a look at the relief. So it's a tiny little turn, and it's still a tiny, weeny bit convex. Only a minuscule amount. So do another same amount. A bit more. Stop. Ish. Okay, so we are. We're going to straighten the neck, and then we're going to prepare the neck for our fret leveling, which will take some masking tape, and we can do that really quickly because I'll cut it and Thomas can fix it.
Oh, you can cut it.
It's still hanging on to its. Right, bend it myself. Oh my lord, I've done too much now. That's
You haven't, have you?
probably about right.
Where
Okay,
did this one come from?
that's the spare one.
Really?
So can you get me my cutting board from down there?
My cutting board.
Oh, a cutting board.
Because I usually run on cutting it. Which
So-
side do you want? Do you want the green side or
No, the
the
right side, on the left side. So, if you get tape from there, you can
Which one?
anyone. You can start by just go as far as you can with full length pieces doubled up, and I'll do the fiddly cutting bit.
Do you want to
No,
give me
you
some
have,
workspace?
no, you have to work around me. Well, you pick it up and move it the other way, or turn the head round, or something. I'll tear your bits off first.
You know I don't like to do it that way.
We have to work together in this space. It's called compromise.
I think
Imagine
the
if we'd
company-
gone on a round the world yacht trip.
Yeah, well then I'd still have more space than here. I'm thinking the company needs to get a
A bigger place.
bigger space.
That's
Yeah.
true. So, we are embarking on the process of masking off the fingerboard so that we can do the fretwork without damaging the wood. And since I keep saying that since you're
It was a massive piece.
that's
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's fine, tear it off or whatever. Since the fingerboard is the heart of the guitar, if you like, it's your bit that you relate to kind of most closely, then it really makes sense that we take our time to get this bit right.
Yeah.
And that's why most of the time in this setup will go into doing the fretboard or the frets and the fingerboard and getting that right.
Oh, have you noticed which way I'm doing this?
What?
I'm closing it off your way. That's the way you like to do it. remember?
Yeah, no, that's good. That saves a lot of time at the end.
Put that my way, but
Well, at the end, when you're rushing to see your wonderful handiwork, you'll be happy you chose it my way.
well, it wasn't last time. It was quite slow. Mucky.
Yeah, so we're taking the time to get the fretboard right, and that's the bit that isn't taken care of by the shops and the factories. I always slag off at this point. Oh look, it's another cup of tea. Thank you, Missy. Thank you, darling.
There's a very pink sky at the bottom of the trees.
Oh, it is. It's on fire.
Is that mine?
That's yours. What'd you say
Thank you.
to your mum?
Okay. Hello. What are you doing here?
Which one's that?
No,
Pardon?
I haven't got it.
I got confused earlier on when it was none of them and it was the neighbour's cat.
Brilliant.
It is boiling.
Oh, I don't know, but I just cut all around in a big circle.
Pardon?
I just went on looking at the cat and went round a big curve.
Amazing.
No,
Who is it?
it is boiling.
Oh, it's the mother of the now grown up kittens.
That she hates.
Oh. Some rest and solitude in here.
I won't get it. Thomas around.
Get away from
Excuse me?
babies.
Okay, I am ready with small pieces. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll work towards each other in the middle. Put it down there.
Oh.
Just don't tie it around first. Just flap it all off the side first. And then
I
we'll
don't
come.
like doing that.
No,
It's just
no, because it slows everything down.
nonsensical. Well, no, because you still have to take the time to
Hell,
do it
where
in the
am I
first
going?
place.
I'm going here where you can't reach.
Mm. See, doesn't work.
Does.
It doesn't.
Come on, we've got to fix the diesel engine on our yacht before a storm hits. We'll work together in a small space.
What's that a reference to? Is that some film I've never seen before?
I don't know. Just be practical. Teamwork in enclosed spaces. Like a prison cell, Bubba.
And I have, at this point, no idea what you're talking about.
I drilled new tuna holes in that, what do you call it, neck? The Epiphone
Yeah,
neck. And
not flat neck.
no, but it's not really that drill is too slow at the moment, and the bit's too blunt, so I need to
It's too slow.
take the top off and change the belt
Oh,
to speed it up.
hasn't that not happened?
No, that's what you do apparently. But I keep not doing it, so it was too slow, and it kind of gnarled up the lacquer at the back of the headstock, but not so much that I can't repair it.
Oh, she wanted some love.
So she came to the place of work.
We're going for the fastest ever, most efficient ever guitar fix, so we'll be done and put on sale later this evening. Photographs tomorrow.
It'd be really good if you can get that time down between the two of you.
Yes.
You don't chop your fingers off first.
Hopeful, wishful thinking.
Oh, look at her, look.
Yeah, I can't. I'm concentrating on the life or death.
Right, this is too small for me.
Okay. Okay, well, you need to cut in halves. I do I?
Oh, no, this is your part. Sir?
I'll supply the tape. So, we say it every time we do this, but not for the easily bored, or those with a short concentration span.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to stick it out and do all this fiddly paperwork stuff if you're going to do this.
Also, don't skimp out on the tape.
No, it's £1.10 a roll.
Mm.
How much is your new fretboard? You have to pay if you don't get it done.
A lot.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you want to mummify it, sorry, like we have.
Sometimes, particularly what you can see on those Les Pauls, I go all the way up and over the body as well, so that wherever you're working near the top, there's no risk of hitting the bodywork.
What's that 80% unhappy face for?
What do you think?
Not a clue. 80% not levelled?
Yep, it's the leaderboard of shame. Uneven fret leaderboard of shame. So top of it right now is that Ace Pro horrible. It's not. It'll be lovely in the end, but that currently grotesque Ace Pro SG monstrosity with 80%. the vintage V100 one that we've just put in a box ready to go, that was the best ever with about 15.
A bit more than that one.
I know, with about 15%.
Like to say that's my one.
Well, it was the best one so far, and then and
That's why I'm laying claim to it.
we didn't do anything to it. It just happened to be that way. It's how it starts is the issue, and then the average ones tend to be the Squiers, which all sort of expect about 60-70%.
And that's what you told me to do.
Yep.
Right. You going to do it all?
Yep.
Okay then.
Just pincering it.
Why haven't you clamped this bit down?
Because I can't remember why not. There's a reason. But I will next time.
Do you want me to do it now?
Yeah, put the clamp over it. Thomas, put the clamp over it.
Okay.
Clamped it down all one key now.
Oh.
It's upset my autismic sense of tidiness. Right. Fabulous. Right, we are now cruising on. I've got a bit of spare masking tape there in case we rub any off later on. And my apprentice Thomas is now going to tell us what he's going to do. What are you going to do?
Oh, I thought you were going to go here it is. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to use this unusual device to check to see how bad the frets actually are, because they're all, well, most of them will be unlevelled at some point. We've got to find... Pardon?
We'll wager
Yeah.
most of them will be unlevelled.
And they're all at different points, and you don't just, well, we're going to, I think, aren't we? Just shave it all down.
Yeah, we're going to do the whole lot in one go, but so technically we don't need to do this bit,
Yeah.
but we're going to do it for interest, so this can go on our leaderboard
Yeah.
with a photograph in the Hall of Shame to tell us. What do you reckon? Basic Squier Affinity Strat, Thomas, we've seen these before.
In percentage?
Percentage?
Anywhere from 45 to about 60%, I reckon.
I reckon 60 dead on.
Reckon?
Okay, off you go.
Am I going to mark it out, or what?
Yeah. Just on the paper to begin with. Straight away, he strikes gold. And while Thomas is doing that, I'm going to pay some small attentions to some other little things over here that need doing.
You're going to make me a booklet.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, we do need to do that as well, but
Yeah, make me a booklet.
I will. Come the time, but I'm just lacquering some this Epiphone headstock that I had to drill out to fit decent quality tuners, because it came with the most rubbish tuners you've ever seen, which is just a shame to put on a otherwise really nice guitar. So I used the drill press to drill out some bigger holes so we can fit a spare set of tuners that I had, which actually came off my Gould semi-Echo stack.
That was a cat. That was quite scary. That's Morris.
So you see what I'm doing, by the way, just as stuff. I'm filling these gaps, so I put lacquer on, and then let it blob over the sides, and then I go over it, flatten it off again, put a bit more on, and build it up over the hours. Morris, my friend. How's it looking?
So far, it seems to be only in one place on each bit. There's no like double. But if you see a pattern here, right to left and right to left.
Yeah, opposites.
Yeah.
The great thing about doing that fret leveling, you can do it with a credit card, or any flat surface, providing you can get 3 of the frets underneath it. It needs 3, and of course, because you're moving up and the frets are getting close together, you need a few different lengths to make it work. But
hence the idea of this.
So, and when you find one that's uneven relative to the one next to it, it's quite clear because it makes a clicking noise, and you can rock it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only relative, so you're just checking relative to the one next to it on either side. Okay, we've gone over there to cure, or dry or whatever. In time, press my phone. I make a lot of bleeping noises from it where I just check and see whether I've scored a gold. Oh, 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
This one doesn't want
10 minutes now, and it's still on £49.99. I like it. That's going to be mine for £51.
Don't keep it.
Hmm?
Don't keep it.
I'm going to put it outside. I might do it.
So this bit, if you're not going to use the massive file, is probably the most important part of this.
What's that?
Doing this if you're not going to file them all down.
So if you're going to do it with a kind of lower tech spot leveling approach, it really is important to know. Sorry, that's yours. It really is important to know where the high spots are, because you need to attack them correctly. We don't really technically need to know that today, because we're going to take it all down in one go. But it's kind of nice to know so that we can see if there are any patterns.
And add to our theory
And
neck patternism.
and also to put on our leaderboard of shame.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bash them together.
So many things ready to go nearly. That was 6:15, so I'm hoping my phone outside will shout to me in 10 minutes when the auction goes through. That'll be a pickup in London. So I'll go for another walk. Or another little trip somewhere. Thomas is very precise with this. That's not my way of saying it's too slow, but he is very precise. It's really a very good thing, actually.
Yeah, well, I like doing a good job.
I should be charging this. My wire. Let's think. I will do that. I will. So many cables that shouldn't be in here. Really.
It's not too bad, is it? Actually.
It could be under the 60. I'm dying to see the state of this neck under here.
Well, it's going to be awful, isn't it?
I know.
I reckon.
But I like the neck itself. It's as nice as the one on Bob's guitar that we just did.
Is that one untouched?
Just
not
as
done
is.
any work?
No, it was great fun to play it. Really high action, but an extremely good range of tones from these 1980s pickups. Even these little grub screws, I think, are blackened with rust, so I don't think they'd even undo. It's a classic. I'm tempted to leave it exactly as it is.
Can't do that.
No.
Every single guitar that's come into his workshop has had work done on it. Very bad to break the tradition.
True. Some screws to do up here, but I'll leave that for a minute. I've got no more room.
And whose fault is that?
Mine.
We just have the shed door open at the moment, so whenever we hear a noise, we'll both look over.
I'm waiting for the app to go. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Congratulations, you have won A Gould Les Paul electrical guitar. It's actually very nice looking.
Was it like your other one?
The construction is the same sort of quality, yeah. And this one, if the selector switch breaks, I won't have to pull the guts out through the F-holes. Which I haven't done yet, but is on the cards.
You can take your time with that one there.
Yeah, because it ain't for sale, no. Wonder what that noise was.
You have lost the bid.
Oh. Watched item ends in a few minutes. I know that. A different item. 5 minutes. Nobody's bidding for it. Nobody wants it. Worth the damn thing. Which is very good because the one, the semi-acoustic I got is a really nice guitar overall. Right, we done?
Done.
Hooray! So, quick spot check. Now we know out of 20 frets, because you don't count the M2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Which is 65%.
I'm both wrong.
Yeah.
We've got to include the
What? I photograph it. Hold on.
yeah, you've got to put it next to the 80.
No, well, I'll just take a picture of it and put it. Squier, a standard. And put this here and hopefully it will tell me I bought the guitar. Right. Okay, so we do this thing and then what do we do? Well, if we're going to do the whole technique, this technique, we just go straight on and mark all of these off right now in one go.
Don't make the mistake you did last
Yeah, I
time.
know, don't go over the edges.
Don't let it seep through.
I know, it's horrendous. It gets under the paper and spreads if you just so much as touch the paper. Okay, and you're going to get to do the scraping machine from hell. Ooh, that's got some crap on it, that fret. I can feel it with just the pen going over it.
Missed out a bit there.
Right, so what's the...
What's that other cap?
What do you need to remember for this when doing this?
Not to hit the paper, for one. Definitely don't want to do that.
No.
And if you do end up getting rid of all of the marker, don't go over that again, because
Just be going further down.
yeah, you just be going further down, then you have to remark it all and do it again. That's a big hassle.
Yep. Actually, you'd be okay because all we're aiming to do is, without too much pressure, we want to go evenly across it all till the point where we've got most of the markers gone, and then if we miss any real chunks, we just go over them again.
You just don't want to cause yourself more trouble. Don't go over the edge, over the sides here, because that's also damaging the guitar.
Oh, don't go too far. You need to. You do need to tilt it a bit on the first one.
Yeah, but as in don't go like
No.
that. That's not what you want to do.
Get right to the end there, but don't go off over the top of that, please. In fact, shall I just do a little
Do
thing?
you reckon that would really help at that point?
Yeah, we would actually. I've seen you do it before. You ran over it last time. Not
yeah,
saying anything.
not. I didn't do it completely, as in like I didn't put any pressure on it.
That's right.
And two, it was my first time.
Okay, here we go then. So get yourself comfortable, get in a nice position.
Do you want me to go from there?
I'd go that way.
You want to go this way?
Yeah, whatever. But
That's awkward for me, isn't it?
is it?
It
Because
just
you are
is.
awkward.
Oh.
So you want to put the. But
You want
this
me to
is-
do it this way?
No, the other way.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
No,
same.
no, no. But you want to transmit the kind of pressure to the middle of it.
Yeah.
And not too hard, just let it roll and down to the end, nice and smooth, right to the end. Cool. So you can see straight away it's taken off some stuff and we're missing the edge. So this time go to the edge and tilt over a bit and get...
Yeah, we're starting to shave off bits
Go.
and make it dirty. You'll see by the end of this
Okay, and again,
that the
a
neck
bit
gets
smoother down there, we're still tilted. Is it smooth? Go. Okay,
that-
that's fine. Now move back in a bit.
I hate this because I can't see.
So keep it nice and smooth so it doesn't chatter, and it's all right. And again,
Same place?
I'll hold it still.
Yeah, you...
Okay. Yeah, and then the next one move towards the middle. That's good. Now this is quite hard. You want to try and just get a little bit more pressure as you kick off, so you take a bit off those first few. Because you haven't really got a run up to it, but you want to pretend as if you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. All the way down to the end. Keep the pressure on, because we're not touching these at the moment.
Why not?
Don't know. That's it. And then when you get to the edge, do the edge and then tilt a little bit.
Now this is the most awkward part.
Yeah. It's alright. Can't do too much harm. Alright.
You say.
That's alright. You've taken a sharp, taken a hit right on the edge of it, but that was probably a bit too angled. Okay. So let's...
Seems to be missing that one.
No, you hit it. It always looks like you've missed that one. I don't know why. So there are a couple of spots that haven't been bitten. I'll point to them from where because I can see the light here. A couple of spots there and there.
We need something to do that for us.
A couple of spots there, a strip there, a strip there. So if you want, start here.
And go backwards.
Turn round. Turn the thing round, yeah. And then start there and just come, and let your finger here be a guide on the wood.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Nice stripe. Right off the end. Right off the end. Keep going. That's the way. And then come across the middle.
So I prefer doing it this way because it can put more pressure towards the back. I don't know why you make me...
I think it's good to go both ways. Oh, the auction ends soon for a Gould Les Paul guitar. 9. Possibly. Unless somebody else is sniping at it, just like me. Okay, from where I'm standing, that's looking good.
Just a bit from it.
I won! Oh, look at that. Ka-ching. Right, I'm going to just put this to... I suppose I'm going to pay for it, am I? Yay! Right, stop there, I think.
Me?
Yeah, possibly.
No, there's a few points that I haven't got.
That's a nice looking guitar. But if you're going to do them, just start before, quite a way before, and just sort of build up to it. So very lightly, and then just settle down and go over the bit you... Why can't I pay them? Swine. Do you mean the item is no longer available for purchase? I bought it, you git. I got it for $49.99 as well. Ooh. Pay now. Yes. Yeah, I know I've won it. Alright. I'm going to stop now before we take all the...
Just got one more bit. One more bit.
Okay. Hey, I got it. The Gould Les Paul.
There you go. That's just... I'm just going to keep my OCD at bay for a minute.
more sausages on
Hey, for Thomas. Thank you,
They're very
sweetheart.
hot.
Thank you. I'll have them at the doorway and you can carry on working. Thank you. Sweetie, when you... No, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll come in. Sorry, I'll come in. There you go. Sausage roll for you.
I'll do that in a minute.
Right, have a look. Right, first we'll blow off all the metal swarf so it doesn't get in your food. Looking good. So you know what to do? Well, actually, you eat that and I'll check it.
Yeah, okay. Seems like a fair deal to me.
Ah!
Don't... Yeah, she said it was hot. Don't get it on the workspace either.
Come back here, you.
Pardon?
Come back here.
I'm coming out here. So we don't get it anywhere. Because it's smarter, isn't it?
So the game is, once you've done this, just check all the areas that you marked up as high, just to make sure that you've got them out taken care of. And if you find any that aren't quite done, then you can just go over them again. There's one tiny bit left there. That's right, I'll pick that up. Tiny bit on the edge there. And we are done. So there we are, fret levelled, nice and level, Lovely, lovely, lovely. Fret leveled. So I'm just going to, ready for the next stage, I'm going to mark all the frets again, because for the next stage we're going to use another tool, and marker pen will come in handy to tell us what's happening with the next tool. And the next tool we're going to use is the fret crowning file, and the purpose of this is to round off this flat spot that we've now put on the top by levelling the frets, and we'll round it off and make the fret back into the correct profile, the correct shape. And we do it by using this tool, which is concave. It's a concave diamond file. And Thomas, have you done one with this one?
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I'll show you the first one. So you start with this, and actually...
You want to do the flat end, remember? We said the
well,
flat
I can do it from here, but I'll keep...
Yeah, but you suggested the flat end was better
So
last time.
So I'm going to start from here. These take the top off very, very quickly because they're narrow frets, and this is for jumbo frets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So be careful that you will lose the stuff on top very soon. So as soon as it's almost gone, stop. Right? See that?
Yeah.
Goes to the next one.
I remember I've done this before.
Yeah, but these are slightly different because they're not jumbo frets.
Oh, is this which way? Is this the jumbo side or whatever it is?
I think they're both the same.
No, remember we figured out it wasn't.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
I'll try it with the other side.
Mm.
See?
No.
See, look.
That one.
You did.
Well,
you
whatever. Do that one.
Did, you did it. You did two on that one.
Right, do that. Yeah, right, do that one.
See?
Just leave a little tiny bit on top, remember?
There we go, that's enough.
Hooray, we've got a gold Les Paul. Woohoo! Get out of the bag, you.
I'll leave it like that.
What a great name. I paid X amount of pounds to Felix manually.
Felix who?
Exactly. Felix manually.
This bit I enjoy because it's quick and it's also very very precise. So you don't have to take a lot of time.
If you get this bit wrong, we'll go back to square one.
No pressure.
Not saying we will, but
I hope so.
so next thing I'll get an email saying, when do you want to pick this up then?
This one's actually coming off very quickly
Yeah.
compared to our last one, despite
Well,
that one.
that's because what's happening is it's falling straight down on top of the fret,
Oh, true.
which isn't ideal.
Well, it's better than Bob's one. Because that one was,
That was impossible.
well, we did it.
There's hardly enough metal in it to do anything. Must phone my dad before day's end. Oh no. Bin, 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 bin. Keep. Bin,
You can see the partnership is,
bin.
you know, so much proportionate in terms of work at the moment.
Bin. Keep. Read. Yes, I sent Felix some money. Yes, I did. Right.
There we go.
Okie dokie.
Almost done.
Approaching the 57-minute mark. Still could be one of the fastest ever. Got the body hanging up waiting to go on. The mechanic standing by with the hydraulic wheel jacks. Tom's playing tag team. Good. That'll do. Right. Ooh,
Put this on.
aha.
Who's going to nick the last
Really
one?
nice.
No, goes on, doesn't it?
There you go. Okay, so I have, I can't remember which is which now, 600, that's not good. So 240 or 300 or something, so I'll start with that. All right, okay. So the boring part of this game now is I worked out exactly how to get this right. It's tricky, but you need strong glasses and a magnifying glass as well. In fact, can you find me some 320 in there as well? Or 240, which is, I think 320 might be the better quality actually. It's probably one of these big sheets near the back wall.
Checking all of them.
Right.
Just in case you've got some at the front. Was it 320 or
240?
240? Ow. Yeah, some 320. Oh. That's 320. 20. Oh!
Just want to tear it with a thing. So I have to put my hand.
Ruler.
Too late now.
That wasn't too bad, I have to admit.
Thank you.
Oh, you're doing yours bit. You're doing this bit.
No, I'm going to hand over to you. Backwards and forwards, 320.
So much work proportion.
I'll get ready to do the visual inspection.
Right, we'll do it like this because small's better for me. Try like this.
Yeah. Got to get all of them, including those back ones.
That's what I like doing,
Right,
because I
it's hard.
often get off the end.
You've got to get them all. And you've got to let your fingers go right over and down, up and down. We don't want a flat spot again now, do we? Don't promise, my lad. No, sir, we don't. Just looking.
You're the most random person I've ever met.
I'll put this back together again with nice gold doofers on it.
I thought you said that one had horrible tunes.
No, I've chucked them away and drilled new holes, hence the repairs.
There we go. You gonna tell me one?
Well, I want you to try actually. What you've got to do is, when you stop and have a look, right?
Yeah.
You've been putting longitudinal scratches in with that stuff.
Yep.
Right, so the aim of this bit of work is to remove the scratches made by the fret leveling file, right? Remove those, which are kind of straight that way, with your thinner, smaller scratches. So look right up close with the magnifying glass, right? Take a look at a single fret right up close in the light, and see, can you see, are there any bigger scratches in there, or has what you've just been doing wiped them all out?
It says there's 100 bits of clutter falls
No,
over.
it's not really good putting things on top of cardboard like this. It's not the smartest move I've ever done.
I think. Right. But I can't tell because that's making my eyes go funny.
Okay, when you do get lined up, you will see it's not too bad actually. Okay, so what were you on? Which paper were you on?
That was 220.
This one, 220. Right, go to 600 and do a bit more up and down with that. I'm just looking.
Oh, I've got annoying flies. And cats. No, Morris.
Yeah, go up and down with the 600 now.
Down.
Think 600.
Down. Hang on,
I'll
we've got a
rescue
cat
him.
hazard.
I'll rescue him.
He's there.
600 all the way and make you get all of them. Come on. thing of it. Come on. That's under there. Yeah, well, you know, shouldn't be in here really. Lump.
I'm calling fat and it hurts his feelings. So are you going to tell them what the point of this is, or...?
Point of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the point of this is to, you're now taking the 320 scratches down to 600 style scratches. Right? And basically, that means we're just going finer and finer all the time.
Which will eventually lead to...
Which will then be replaced by the micro mesh set, which we will use, you will do with a spongy thing instead of your fingers.
And how long are we going to use the spongy thing for?
You're going to do the first one for quite some time because you're jumping from 600 to...
Tell me.
1500, that's a big jump, so you need... Can you have a look up close? You need quite some time.
Well, actually, that doesn't look too bad at first glance, but...
Yeah. You will see when there's one of the old scratches still in there,
Mm-hmm.
but you've got it all out and it's all down to 600 scratches now. And that's what you're looking for. Right, so your first one you want to do a bit longer.
Yeah.
And you want to get that all the way...
45 seconds or a minute?
A couple of minutes with that one.
A couple of minutes? 2 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? I'm going to use you as a reference here at the moment, I think. Am I? No, we're in 3 minutes. Okay. So now, this is going to be probably the most annoying noise in the world for a while.
Dremel in a minute.
Oh no, that noise is fine.
What's he doing? Look. You can't go on that. No, just a problem.
Monstrous cats. That's the problem with 4 cats. As soon as something like this is open, then they all come in it. So whilst we're doing work, they decide, oh, this is a little place to come and wreck. Which isn't the best, is it?
You've sent me a question, of course you have. You want to know when you're going to try and get the guitar, don't you, Philip? And it's kind of show as well.
That's that one done.
The guitar. Whilst quickly switching off Felix.
There we go. So this one for about a minute?
Yep. Okay, I've just switched off all the airplane noises. Now, you will tell me, that's a nice looking guitar.
Yeah.
You recognise the headstock?
That's,
Then is my computer. Yeah. So there you go, folks. That's the new one. Not the piano, but the guitar. And I think that's pretty good looking. Based on the experience of the Gould I've got in there, I think we'll be nice.
based on the experience that you can't get it working because of the...
No, I've got it working just fine.
Thingy.
It's a lovely guitar. The select switch went there. One bit funny. It will be a lovely guitar in the end. Come on. Thanks for buying one Hammer Square N1. Text me on such and such to arrange a time. Very good.
So see gradually as we progress that the tape is getting a lot more dirty, and that's actually a good sign because it means we're getting all the stuff off that was on there in the first place. And you know, it's like you won't be able to normally get that off just by cleaning it once. So you want to do this for a while. It's time consuming, it does make the neck look nice and does actually have a purpose outside of aesthetics. So we're now on 3,200. Which I don't even know why that's there because anything past that just didn't even seem to have any grit on it, but I'm sure it works. We've used it every single time since, and it has got shiny and clean. And 360 now. Well, 3,600, but yeah. And an annoying fly in the roof. So all of those bits that we've got marked out there are now gone, pretty much. Unless we've done something wrong, which is highly unlikely. So you can see at the moment that all of these bits, like I said, are gone. Well, you probably can't see that, but they are. And it just shows that no matter how much you have, it's still salvageable. Like with Bob's guitar, we had pretty much no metal left, which wasn't very easy to work with, but we managed to fix it in the end, didn't we?
Yep.
Which was brilliant, because that was, how old was it, 25 years old?
Yeah, about that. 1987.
Yeah, so very old. So if you can do it to that one and fix that one up nice, I think pretty much every single one of these frets will be nice. Ready to come back yet?
Yep, sending.
We are now on 6,000, as you can probably see. There's
Oh, you want to play tag team?
pretty much nothing there. Well, no, it's just this next part's your job.
Come on, send. Here, do your best. Okay. Tag team.
That's the.
Oh, I get the good end. Here.
Yeah.
What are you
The
doing?
next bit.
1 hour 9. Oh, the next bit, the Dremel. The Dremel. Get all this back together again in no time. Okay, paper's done. Whoop. There goes the message to Felix. Okay, so next bit, really not using the right glasses for this part of the game. Next bit, as we run into our 1 minute, 10 seconds. I don't know how long it is before it cuts off. Ooh. But it's not long.
Fly in the room.
Okay, so I'm going to chuck some 10 on here now. A bit of G10 squidge. And basically it goes everywhere anyway, so there's hardly any point. But we're going to spread this about a bit, and it's not as what's it, abrasive as the other stuff. The 3 that I was usually using. I've gone a bit waterier because I kind of had a feeling that other stuff was undoing some of the shine we'd done. Okay, so we now have a few minutes of Dremel. It's going to make a mess, and the rule of the Dremel, Thomas.
Yeah.
This is really important for next time you do this on your own fully. The rule of the Dremel is hold it with 2 hands always.
Yeah.
Right, really, because I've clicked, I hit the deck and banged the fretboard earlier on today, but it's just pure luck that I didn't hit the fret.
Oh.
And if you hit the fret, you are literally back to square one, and that would be kind of depressing. So, it's always trying to pull you off the edge, and that's when you'll click down on the deck.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Spitting this stuff everywhere. So I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take Bob's PD back up tomorrow.
Yeah.
If my back is not completely conked out before then. And then I will be bringing back the Gould. And then the following week, I'll be taking Megan's Les Paul
Yeah.
and bringing back a job for someone else. which will be a Squier telly,
Oh.
which wants a complete setup
Yeah.
plus new Easy Lock tuners
Ah.
of the Wilco variety, and the guy's prepared to pay for the whole thing and the tuners, so that's good. And then, oh no, not then, but end of next week, meeting in Tabby with somebody, picking up a Jackson and some pickups.
Yeah.
And he wants to set up on the Jackson, and he wants the bridge pickup moving to the middle.
Yeah.
And a new hot rails thing put in there at the bridge, in the neck position.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do, or we could do a bit of research on what to expect wiring wise,
Yeah.
because I haven't seen one of those before. And that's just the work we know we've got lined up,
Yeah.
right? God knows what happens when more phone calls come in during the week.
I haven't actually been around for one of those yet.
What? Phone calls?
Phone calls.
No, but you can see we're in danger of getting too much work.
Yeah. Well,
This
it's
is
always
kind
good
of-
to have too much rather than too little.
Yeah. It is. It gives you options. Oh, hell, what was that? Somebody's bought something. Go and have a look. On top of the wood, in the corner by the door.
Corner by the door.
Wood pile, scrap wood to your left.
Scrap wood,
Top of the pile, right at the top corner.
Oh yeah.
Has it somebody just bought a V100?
Felix messaged you.
Oh.
New listings match on Blaster.
What?
New listings.
Oh, okay.
On Blaster and 3 others.
Right, don't want that. Okay. Oh, blimey. Right. Cleans off the goo, the main majority of the goo, with a cloth that's going to end up going in the bin or in the washing or something.
Oh, look how lovely and dirty that is.
Filthy. It is a mess. And then you have the joy of pulling off,
Oh look, doing it your way takes forever.
doing it my way. I did it my way. Well, this bit didn't do it that way, but
Well no,
there
that's the first bit.
is no life I know to compare with my imagination. You've not watched Willy Wonka, have you?
Yeah, I've watched Willy Wonka.
The old one?
Yeah.
There is only,
Sometimes,
there is only one Willy Wonka.
sometimes when we have the rest of the family down, sits us down and makes us watch old films. Like The Last Unicorn, the original Willy Wonka,
There is only one Willy Wonka.
12 Angry Men.
That's you know that's a classic.
Yeah, I like that one.
You-
That's the only one I like, that's black and white.
Yeah, you got taste. You get taste.
And then, the rest of you sat us down to watch
Come on, you get
some other old films that we didn't stay all the way
Reefer
for.
Madness. Oh no, that's a public health warning film. Warning you for what will happen if and when you start doing that at school. Your eyes will go red and you'll play rock music and the devil will get into your soul. And you'll end up in the gutter
Right, I'm going to take that off there
in Calcutta.
and put that there.
We're nearly there. This is the payoff moment, and then we get into. We can do the next bit really quickly because we're fast.
Can we?
Yeah, we can. We can. You're going to stick it out for the whole job.
Yeah, no.
First time ever.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Not in one sitting. You
Yeah, I have.
Make sure this doesn't conk out.
Calling me a quitter.
Quitter.
I'm surprised at this because the roles are reversed this time, isn't it?
What's that?
You're doing the tape and I'm sitting here with the ball of tape.
Fair dues.
For once.
The way the cookie crumbled. Tra-la. Now,
Do you want to just give me the tape first? Thank
right,
you.
now this makes a mess every time. So to overcome the mess, I'm just going to give this a quick clean down. Or is it my imagination? It's got some like fingerprints on here that just won't go away.
One day I'm going to go over one of these and see how many references to films and stuff you've put in them.
No, you won't see any.
Oh yeah.
But you won't see none.
Do we need to take the body down?
You can do. Just need to clear a bit of space here a minute.
You've done this thing.
Oh yeah, well,
This one, right?
hold it, support it, yeah,
Yeah.
and then pull the one-handed, get the whole thing out. It's easy.
I know.
It's easy when you know how.
It's easy when you don't.
It's like a Hendrix
Melt
gig.
it.
Set fire to my electric guitar.
How am I supposed to get that out?
You pull it through. Just pull it hard.
Don't like doing that.
It can't do it no harm. Right.
He says.
Stinky cloths off to one side. Used up stuff in the bin. Glass over there on the thing. Parts. Spare parts. Right, fret levelers out of the way. Your mum has moved my most preciousest brush, so I can't brush this down. Present bodies. Deliver me some things.
What?
Deliver me the bits. Come on.
Speak English,
We're
sir.
losing time. He had. This is a very tight fit. This neck.
You were so adamant on going fast that you forget to speak English to me.
God, you really don't need anything to support this neck. It is. Go. Bits.
Put them in. Take that. There you go.
What, we take the horrible dustbin symbol off. I don't care what anyone says. It's ugly. And then we give it a quick clean down with this.
Hurry up, we're losing time.
That neck
We're
isn't
losing
attached.
time.
The neck, don't
I'm just...
don't look at it.
Bug came out of nowhere. Wow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of grip on that first bit.
Wow.
Face, that's face.
Crafted in Indonesia.
Yeah, that's a good selling point actually. Indonesian. Not your Chinese rubbish. Yeah, me talk wrench kicking off there. Right, that's all need a good clean towards the end. I tell you what, while we're at it, can you fish me out 6 of those little screws for the plate? They're called pickguard screws, you know the ones I mean. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Da, 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 da. There's nothing.
Why do I have 7 here?
Because there's a spare one for something else or something. Don't know. Oh, there's one from something else. Yeah, keep the 7th one. Give me 6. Give me 6. There's nothing. Drop them on there.
No.
Drop them on there. Thank you.
2,
Okay.
4, 6. There we go.
Thank you. Now with these, right, when you put these in, Thomas,
Yeah.
right, you literally stop as soon as they get anywhere near biting. Like that. Because this will crack so easily.
Yes.
You just,
This has been done before.
I have cracked many in my time.
And how many have I cracked?
Is that replaceable with the other one? 'Cause I
Interchangeable.
think the other one's a slightly bigger one.
Yes, and the other one is slightly bigger.
See? I knows these things. We have spares of these up here.
Yeah.
Somewhere buried in
In
there.
our new box.
Yeah, Velcroed, if you'll notice. Pretty cool, I think.
Sam swears by Velcro at all costs. Not actually called Velcro.
Okay,
It's
so
from the
get
company.
ready with the
Fun fact.
right. Yeah.
What
Tell you
am I
what,
ready with?
I will stick these bits on if you make with find the clippers and the string winder and get these ready.
String winder. Clippers.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
What's this at? An hour 22.
Not too
Should I
bad.
try and beat the hour mark? The 2 hour
Yeah,
mark?
we've got
sorry.
intonation to do. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's
volume.
an hour.
volume doesn't go there, you fool. Volume goes here.
If you need a reference point, there are many other guitars in here. Okay? Don't feel too lost.
Thank you.
24. 42, sorry.
All that matters is they go in the right
32.
place. Oh, by the way, I found out something
16.
about... Remember what we said about these little things? Do you remember? Always check, see if there are 2 in the set with short legs.
Ah, yes.
Are there 2 in this set with short legs? No, they're all the same, aren't they? Yep. So always check. So, what was it? I was going to say something important, but you've made me forget.
Yes, I've made you forget.
It's really important. Start off one. I'd have to. Hopefully, it'll be a bit sunny tomorrow, and I can take pictures of this.
I'm not
The
sure it
listing.
will. Monday's down here to be quite miserable.
When you're putting these things back on, spare. When you're putting these little thingies back on, saddles, thank you. I always forget the word. You can preset them roughly to a staggered position anyway. The two pairs of 3.
Always done that.
Good. Because you'd pretty much be home and dry.
Are you gonna set the action?
We put the strings on, load the neck,
Yeah.
and then we set a rough playing action, an average playing action, and then we go and check the nut setting, and then we adjust that, and then we fine tune the action, and do the intonation, and we get the hell out of here. And that goes forward, doesn't it? Second pair.
What's
The
the W
second
for?
set. What?
Got 42, 32, 24W.
Wound.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what I was going to tell you is, you know the nut slot files
Yes.
I paid a load of money for, and I got a set that matches exactly the gauge of 9, 11, or whatever you got there,
Yeah.
right? Except if you try and use them, they are too tight. They're exactly the same diameter as the string, which is too tight to use with those strings. So you have to use the 11 on the 9 string, and then you run out at the fat one down at E.
Sucks.
So you use it all one out of sequence, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But then you've got the little thin bars, the pipe cleaner things to use.
Pipe cleaner thing.
You know what I mean.
So very technical.
The welding files. Okay, so we've got those
You done that?
chaps on. Right, strings through.
Do you want me to wind them? Or do you want to put them on?
Do
you want me to do this bit?
you push them through, I'll want to cut and wind.
42?
42.
42.
Bin.
Don't have a bin, can't you?
You've got to get them, when you go through, hold them up so that it don't fall back in here. We don't get a double bend, you know what I mean.
Do you mean what I normally do?
Yeah. We'll pull them through and then hold them up in position. Thank you. Come on, we'll get there. Come on. I'm going to get there before the... Through?
Yeah.
Affirmative. Yeah, we'll get here before the battery runs out. Because
Why are you not charging it?
I could do. I think. Right, through, back an inch, fold up, hold down.
Not easy locks.
No. Come on. That's getting tangled up. Brilliant. We'll come back and cut the nut slots in a minute. Next.
Lovely out of tune note. 32. Have you ever had a note that you've wound up and has been completely in tune before?
Yes, I do that quite often when I'm doing the cutting these things. Second one down.
If I could get it in there.
So as not to get caught out,
Just push that back through.
I am now going to re-plug this in Hey, I had my eye out.
Yes.
Now plugged in. Thank you. Hold it out. Flatten it down. Through. Back an inch. Bend up.
Hour 27. Almost.
Not bad, not bad.
Let's try and get the...
We'll get it within the 2 hour mark, that'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be a record, wouldn't it?
As long as they don't mess around. I think there's a bit of work to do on the nut, but then hopefully it will cut quite easily on this stuff. I was doing Megan's guitar and the nut was made of some sort of springy plastic.
Troublemakers come back.
Springy plastic, so it was really, really impossible to cut. It just sort of, you just kind of kept rubbing it. Oh my god. What? Wait a minute. We put that, we couldn't make my head around this. We put that on, didn't we? The,
what?
The shim on.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, we'll get there. It's not too high. It's alright. Find it now. Go. I just thought the action was too high and we'd never get it down even with the adjustments, but
I thought it was a bit high.
But it is okay. Through and taut.
Oh, almost through.
Flatten, let's go. 2 string trees on this guitar. On the first one, there we go. First one will be used now. Is it now? Oh, I can't remember. I can't see.
That's not good. We've got 3. Yeah, it'll be on that one because we've got 2.
Yeah, 4 in total.
Yeah. See, we know what we're talking about, even if you guys don't.
Mm-hmm. 4.
What are you hitting on?
Morris will be after the string in a minute.
Well, I think he's run out, isn't he?
Oh, he's at the door.
Guarding.
Through all the way.
Yeah, should be.
Back an inch. Lock off. Lock off. Get in.
That reminds me, I want some Pink Panthers. Those little wafer things.
Pink Panther wafers.
Yeah. Little, like biscuit things. Oh, that one's not all the way through.
Hang on. Ah.
It's got caught.
Lucky I didn't put it under too much tension, isn't it,
Yeah.
Thomas?
What?
Right now.
Yeah, you didn't give me... Okay. Hang on. Turn it around.
Hang on, I gotta give it some damnations. You sure it's not all the way through?
Well, one of them isn't. Turn around.
Let me see.
Which one is
You're
that?
right, this is the one. Where's the...
How's that got caught like that? I pushed it through. Maybe when I let go.
Okay. So now we've got a crimp in it, but it's not too bad. Cause
Yeah, that's not a bad crimp.
I didn't do it too hard.
It's like,
Tight. And that's what we're trying to guard against.
yeah.
Because we weaken the strings like that.
You made me
you
let
see.
go too early, sir.
Right, we'll have to work out a better way of doing it.
Oh, that feels so much better. Interestingly.
Come along now, make sure you've got the strings in the right order.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. Wait, can you let me pull this one all the way through first?
Mm-hmm.
You got it? Through.
Support.
Yeah. It's hard with these because they're so slippery.
B string down.
You got it?
B string pull back. B string locked and wind. Sounds like a military operation. But that's still supported, I hope. So we don't fall into the same trap.
No, I still got it. There we go.
Are you sure?
Should be. Yeah. Unless there's something I'm doing wrong. But oh my god!
Shut up.
It's still 3.
So just to remember, we did some cranking on the truss rod, didn't we?
Hold.
Right?
Yeah. And we have to check that in a minute.
Got it? Hold it up. Thank you. Just keep it in under tension. Yeah, so we did some turns on the truss rod, so we may need to do some of those again back. Right, let me have it all. Let me have it all. Yeah, we may need pull back, tension. Right. Yeah, we may need to put some relief back in the truss rod.
Maybe.
We'll put this under some tension and see what.
No, Morris, come here.
Twang.
Come here. Come here.
Right, it's getting windy out there.
Right, come this way. Come on.
Let me just double check that's through. That's through. Cut this off now.
I'm going to take him inside because he's being a nuisance.
Very well.
He won't go away.
I'm just going to put this under
I'll be back in a minute.
tension. Up to roughly the right tension. Roughly tuned. So when you first put it in, just pull on the strings quite a bit, but very gently. Not hard, but gently.
I've got to put the strings back on mine.
So currently the action is massive.
Which is one of the big points that people don't like when they get a new guitar. And that's what I remember. That's high action is horrible because you have to press down and it hurts your fingers and you feel like you're getting nowhere. So this bit's always important.
Oh, bugger. Something I didn't remind me to tell you.
What? Use your
Remind me-
words, boy.
Remind me to tell you something you don't know yet.
Tell me something I don't know yet.
Remind me to tell you something tell you about something you don't know what I'm talking about yet.
Tell me something that I don't know that you're talking about yet.
Right, neck under tension, action way too high, and quick look down the neck, and actually that's got a fair bit of relief in it already, but we are way too high in the action. So first step in this last bit of the end game is get your little tiniest of Allen keys, which in this case does the Fender style adjustments. And what you do, Thomas, is you crank down the action.
Oh, I've done this bit before.
Yeah, but I'm just listen to the principle of it, right? You crank down the action first to something roughly that you're happy with, right? So in this case, it's going to be a hell of a long way. Now it's going to slack the strings off quite a bit too, so it's all out of tune.
Do you want me to wind it up again?
Not yet. We'll do it. Bloody hell! Give it a bit of a tighten.
Wrong way. No. More?
So, it doesn't matter for now. But so we're looking for the action here. Look,
Yeah,
action
this is the inside, isn't it?
still too high, so we'll crank this down a bit more. We're just looking for what we roughly think would be a good action now. It's still too high. I'd be looking for.
Jeez, this is massive.
It's this. Well, I'll tell you what's higher. Look at that.
Yeah, no, this is.
So,
You have to do a bit of work on that.
so I'm just looking what we got here. Let's do it this way up. Right. Still loads. Well, this is remarkably high.
The person that sold it to you is probably like, haha.
Right, and then I'm going to take the next one down, just drag it down to meet the other one.
Oh my god, they still managed to get out.
Practically
What
wound
are you
a little
doing in
grub
here?
screw out.
What are you doing? This is our other little hazard, if you can see. Kitten number 2. She's very annoying. This one's the other one. You can stay on the stool as long as you don't mess around.
Okay, so loads more tweaking to do to get this action vaguely down level. This is the most fiddly bit of all. And G is a mile high.